Hi, I'm Tom Loucks for Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, and today I have in the studio two ladies from the Pittsville Area Community Theater, and we're going to talk about an upcoming play called Urning It that's going to happen in the month of July. So welcome.
Thank you.
Let's talk about what you do for the play, Sarah, and you can introduce to the audience of all the things you do over there in Pittsville at the auditorium right over there.
All right, I'm Vice President of PACT, Pittsville Area Community Theater, and I'm directing my first adult show this year. I've been the drama director at Pittsville High School for 10 years, done 12 shows there. But I've been involved with community theater in Pittsville since 2004 when I was an actor in Arsenic and Old Lace. And since then, I've been a technical director, stage manager, lights and sound, prop procurement, everything there is to do in community theater, I've done it. So this year we needed a director and I decided, what the heck. So we're doing a play, Urning It. It's going to be a fun show. So I have with me
Roseanne Davis. Hi, how are you? I have gotten into theater in my later years. It's my next phase of life. I've been in the last two plays, but this year I've decided that it's time to learn lights. So this year I'll be doing lights rather than a role in the play.
All right, so backstage this time, is that right?
behind the scenes.
Well, you guys have a great theater over there.
We do.
It was built when?
I'm not sure what year it was built. We seat 490 people in our theater, but the Pittsville School District built it, I believe, in 1999.
Okay.
And we rent space from the school district, and we've been doing shows there at Pittsville since 2003. So I've been involved in every play except the very first one. First one, actually, I was involved. I was in the audience. That was the one I always forget. Yeah.
Steel Magnolias.
Steel Magnolias
Okay.
was their first show.
Is the one she always forgets.
I always forget that one. But yeah, we have a really nice theater, air conditioned. We have a nice space for concessions and for intermission, and lots of good parking. So it's a good space, and the school district is, generous in allowing us to run our practices there as well. So.
Alrighty. Well, if you're just joining us, July 21st through the 23rd, Urning It is the play that's going to happen at the Pittsville Area Community Theater. And we're going to get into a little bit about the play, what it's about. We'll give you a sneak preview. We're not going to let all of it out because we want you to go. They'll tell you the times, the cost, just again, so we make sure you know where to go and tell you where the theater is. It's really right by the school, but they can explain it as well. But let's talk about who's in the play, what the play is a little bit about, a little sneak preview, so your guests know what's happening. And that's not too far away, about 1 month from today, is it?
Yeah,
exactly. So.
We're a month out, and it runs July 21st through the 24th. We actually have a Sunday matinee at 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sorry. And the play is kind of reminiscent of a show we did a few years ago, Leaving Iowa, which was like a road trip. This one is the family, the Hemackers, Hemmacher, the father, Ward, corrects several people in the play how to pronounce the name. Family member dies, a really wealthy aunt, and the husband and wife take their 3 children with the urn of the aunt to take it to Santa Monica, California to spread her ashes in the bay. And they take a divergent southerly route because mother wants to see more scenery in the 6 days that they have to get to their location. Well, they encounter a lot of oddball people. It's a very minimalist set. We have props and costumes and, of course, the acting to kind of accentuate the semblance of different locations across the United States, especially down in the southern part of the United States into Texas, and we actually go across the border a little bit. Accidentally, and there's some problems that arise from accidentally crossing the border going into Mexico. We have a lot of the people that are in our show this year from Pittsville. Our family include your nephew,
Yes.
Randall Fox. He's Ward Homemaker, and then Kathy Stamus is from Wisconsin Rapids. She's been in, I think this is her.
She's from
She's Marshfield, yes, she's from Marshfield. She is, this is her third show,
Right.
I believe she's been in. And then we have some newcomers to Pittsville Area Community Theater as the children. As Gunny is Jared Fox from Pittsville, and Adrian Week is Charlie, and Jessica Fuller is Nat, or Natalie. And then we have all these little oddball, quirky, little short characters, some newcomers to Pittsville, and some old favorites. So some of our old favorites are Bonnie Wolf, who is been in several of our shows, and she is a local favorite because of her personality.
She's a local character.
She is a character. And we have some new people like Roseanne was a couple years ago, who had things on their so-called bucket list to get involved in theater, and people who haven't been involved in theater for years and years and years. So Carmen Cum and Melissa Dar are locals from Pittsville, and then we have newcomer Penny Seidel from Marshfield. And then I have a couple actors that have been in my high school plays. Actually, I think all five of the young people that are doing the show have been my actors for my high school performances. So Martin Schwanebeck and Brooke Zidane, I think, round out the cast. Did I miss anyone?
I don't think so.
Okay. So it's a really fun show, a lot of funny bits, a lot of interaction between the actors, and the nuances between the husband, Ward, and the wife, Callie, have really accelerated the last. We went off book last night. They have a week before they need to be off book, but we did part of Act 1 last night, and they were off book quite well last night. And interplay between the mom and dad, the little glances, and the little touchings and things, really reminiscent of any family on a road trip. And we got to work on the kids a little bit, because they're in the back either misbehaving or paying attention. And you know as well as I do, Tom, that if you're on a road trip with your kids, they're going to be on their electronic devices, or if they were me, reading a book. So we have to start working on some of that as well to, kind of get the natural look of what teenage kids would actually be doing. So.
Well, yes, but different in my day. I used to sit there and be quiet.
Or we did those road trip games with skates or something. Or
my wife and I always say that to our kids. You're lucky you have all these electronics, but the show is going to depict a lot of this real life that all of us go through, which is it can take road trips another direction.
Right.
Which I'm thinking this play is going to do.
And you think it's earning it. Okay, it's someone has died, someone's passed away. Those euphemisms that we want to use. Someone has died, and the father is kind of focused on what he's going to get from this rich old aunt. But I think honestly, the trip itself, what happens between the father, especially the father, and the son especially, is so touching. And I see the interplay between Randy Fox, who's playing Ward, and this new young man, Jared Peters, who is going to be a freshman at Pittsville High School. Them getting used to each other, that uncomfortableness between the two actors, how it's kind of developing a little bit. Between fathers and sons, usually the relationship isn't as close as between a mother and a son, or a father and a daughter. And you can definitely see the father has a favorite, can't you?
Yes. And they really get to know each other a lot better in the course of this trip. Dad works a lot, he's not home a lot. The kids kind of think he's a dork and kind of not too bright. But they really learn to appreciate each other in the course of this trip.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit behind the scenes. We touched base a little bit on that. I'm curious, our viewers could be curious. You're saying off book. What does it take to do some of this? You got into this 2 years ago, right? Am I right? 2-3 years ago?
Yes.
You have to memorize these lines, right? You're not letting
Yes.
anybody go up there with cheat notes or anything like that.
No, sometimes you have to do something like that. You might, if somebody can't remember their lines, you'd have a page of a script taped into a book while they're, on their road trip or something. We have to do that every once in a while, especially at the younger levels. But typically with community theater, I think the first couple shows I was in at Pittsville, we had someone who was behind the flats, which is the walls, ready to call a line if somebody missed. But we haven't done that since 2004. We haven't had to. But a lot goes into memorizing it. We were actually talking about memorization last night. My first show with Pittsville Area Community Theater in 2004 was Arsenic and Old Lace. And I hadn't done a show since high school. And I was, believe it or not, I was a super, super shy kid. I was shyer than I actually thought I was. I was in 2 plays, and probably between the 2 plays, I had maybe 10 lines total. And I was very, very soft. People couldn't hear me. Not a problem now, but I teach high school English, so you get to have a booming voice. But I went from having 10 lines in high school, and then 30 years later, give or take, whatever, having almost 400 lines. And I would read my part before I would go to bed and then put the script under my pillow, hoping that the lines would seep through the feathers or something. But Randy does something that I think is really effective and I would do again. You want to explain what our Randy does? Yeah.
We got a tape recorder, and he and his wife and I sat around the table and recorded the whole play. So now, regardless of what he's doing, pretty much 7 or 8 hours a day, he has this tape playing in his ear, and he's hearing not only his lines but everybody else's lines, so he knows where he comes in. And then he has his times when he actually sits down and studies the lines, but it just has become a part of his everyday life. He is Ward Hemacher. That is him. That's who he is. And you do get to a point when you're in a play that you become part of who that character is. I think being a character oftentimes can change you and make you a better person, or maybe it is you. You're just fulfilling your natural personality, I guess. But not always, since they had me playing a drunk last year.
True enough. Homeless lady, homeless lady drunk. Our young actors, so many of them memorize their lines so easily. This young Jared Peters is in another play this week. Prairie Fire Theater is here this week at Pittsville, and 1 week they learn a play, and he is going to be Jack and the Beanstalk. So he's learning all these lines for one play, and then ours as well. I don't know how he's keeping it straight, but he and the other young actors, Adrian and Jess, their lines are down. They just need to work on, saying them the right way, the right tone, with the right amount of sarcasm, the right amount of, whatever nuance we're trying to get them to fulfill. But for those of us who are 50 plus, and we are 50 plus, Randy's 50 plus, I don't know about Kathy, but it's harder for us to memorize our lines, and we have to find a technique to repeat the words in our head, reading them aloud, reading them silently, having a tape recorder, whatever it takes to get those lines so you have that connection with the audience and have a good show.
And it's so important that the lines are really right, because everybody else takes their cue off of your line. So if you change your line around a little bit, you can really throw off the other actors.
Right.
So it's really imperative that these lines are not just the idea, but the words, because you never know what your fellow actor is going to cue off of.
Right.
Which,
Do they normally get 2 months, a month? Is that the normal time of practice to?
6 weeks is typically plenty. We had 2 read-throughs in, was it May? No.
Yeah.
No, in June, early June.
Yeah.
And then
after school got out.
Right, after school was out, we had 2 read-throughs with the full cast, and then we started practices. So we do not practice on Friday, and some weeks, some of the actors are only there 1 day a week. Next week, it'll be Act 1 and 2, and we're piecing it together. But typically, it's just 6 weeks. That's plenty of time. You go into 8 weeks. Number one, people lose their summer, and it's hard to get actors back when they feel like they didn't have a summer. They had fun, but it was a big commitment. For some reason, and I agree with that. 6 weeks is plenty. So.
Do you encourage a younger group in some other plays, maybe to get started? Is there classes? Maybe I know you teach
Yes.
the classes. What age should people start doing this?
Well, interesting you should ask that. I just did a 2 weeks theater arts class at Pittsville High School. I did one like 4 or 5 years ago. And when I looked at the students who were involved in that 4 or 5 years ago, some of them that did it as 2nd and 3rd graders, 4th graders are in high school now, and they did it again with me. I'd say the younger the better. A lot of the school districts, Pittsville included, do elementary school plays, which can be these huge 60, for Pittsville, 60 or 70 kids involved, and everybody gets a part, which is, not everyone can act. Not everyone, has a nice booming voice. A lot of them are probably like I was in school, really shy and quiet, just kind of want to, be a part of something. Start early. Get involved in those elementary school plays, junior high plays, high school plays. Do
And the Prairie Fire.
Prairie Fire. And there's roles that turn up in community theater. I have a student who's been in a couple of my plays. She's going to be a sophomore. She's been involved in quite a few shows here in Wisconsin Rapids with the Wisconsin Rapids Community Theater. So, go to Marshfield, get involved in a show if something sounds interesting. Roseanne actually was in a show
In Neilsville in March.
in March. So, and we've had other people who've been on our board who've been in other community theaters. Kathy Stamus, one of our actors, she's been in several shows. Last year we had Greg Jackin, and Greg Jackin has been in 40 plus shows.
Yeah.
So, get involved. Get involved young and expand your repertoire. Don't just play the young ingenue, because guess what? You get older, it's kind of hard to play that role.
So Pittsville Area Community Theater, if anybody wants from Wisconsin Rapids, Nakusa, or anywhere, and Stevens Point, they can try out. Is that correct?
Oh,
Absolutely. We love having
New
new
blood.
people
Oh,
come
yeah.
in. And, if you get someone from a Marshfield or a Wisconsin Rapids who acts in those cities, they have their fan base. And they can bring their fan base with them to Pittsville. So
We welcome them.
So we really like to get people from outside of Pittsville involved in the play, because then once people come out to the play in Pittsville, they come back. It's a good play. It's a good organization. We put on good productions, and people come back once they see it.
Well, you have a state-of-the-art facility. I think we have about 7 minutes left in our program. I want to talk a little bit more behind the scenes, because you're the lighting, because it doesn't just happen. You guys make it look good, kind of like what we're doing here. I have Travis back there. He's making us look good.
Right. Thank you.
And tell me a little bit about backstage. There's people that run sound. There's people that run lights. I guess tell me
And
a little bit about the lights.
The lights are very interesting. This is my first exposure to this board of lighting things, but once you figure out what you want lit, where, when, what are you highlighting on the stage, and you get the lamp set, it's really pretty automatic to set the cues so that you can do that automatically. But it's very detailed to actually get those lights in the right place.
How many hours did we spend Friday working on just the lights on the stage?
Just making sure they were pointed in the right direction. Randy went up on the lift because we're not doing that.
I would do it, but if there's someone else who will, I'm willing to let them do it. Both of us are not very fond of heights. Roseanne would not go up on the catwalk. Catwalk doesn't bother me at all. But we spent a couple hours on Friday setting just the lights above the stage. And I've been doing lights for 10 years, and I probably only know about 20% of what goes on with lights. I've had people in the past, students, who love that. They just love the technology, the technical aspects of lighting, and just really get into it. For me, I know how to set the cues. I can set, change the lights. That's what we did on Friday. We changed bulbs that were out, replaced the lamps, put some new gels on. You want to have different colors. And I just basically go with blue, for backstage stuff. But making sure that the lights are pointed in the area that you want, because we use this theater for music programs, our band and choir, and I do the lights and sound for a band and choir. It's different than for a show. And if you're doing a show like ours, we're using two parts of the stage in the middle. So there's times that Roseanne has got to hit the light cue that's going to put lights on the car. And then we switch. And this week with Prairie Fire being there, we are going to have to reset the lights. And that's something Roseanne really wants to get involved in, because right now my stage manager and I set the lights. And I showed him how to set lights. He'd never done lights before. He just did sound. So she's kind of learning it secondhand. And I'm thinking we probably are losing a little bit as we go through the steps. But we'll redo it. And we will have to redo it a few times just to get the lights the way we want.
Well, there's a lot of pieces in community theater. So if someone doesn't want to act, that's where they could go. So if they want to be technical, they like sound, they like lighting, there's plenty to do.
And they can always help build the
I was just going to say, what about building?
Painting. My stage manager, he graduated from Pittsville High School this year, Cedric Neve. Was forced to do 4 shows for me because I always had shortage of guys. He liked to do backstage stuff. We did a second play this spring in January, a fundraiser, and it was great. He did stage management, and he loved that. Prop procurement, costuming, helping with directing, and then he had done just a little bit of lights and sound as an elementary school student, and he really liked to be behind the scenes, not in front. He's a good actor, but that's not what he really liked to do. He likes to do the little details. He's doing our T-shirts, for example. He's more of an ideas kind of guy. Some of us like to be on stage and get all the attention, but we have backstage stuff that we have to do too. And personally, I enjoy all of it. I enjoy all of it. I'm
actually getting a little jealous now that the play's coming around, that they get to be on the stage and I have to sit back. This may be my last time doing lights.
I was going to say, I thought this is my last show.
My last time doing lights. I thoroughly love the stage.
Yeah, I definitely can.
It is
looks
different.
Like your personality would be great on stage.
It is completely different directing or being backstage than it is being an actor, because the actors get all the glory because they're the ones doing the stuff. But people who are you know, in the audience, they see this magic happening in front of them, and it takes all of us to make a show. And being a director for so many years and being involved in community theater, you know, I can appreciate, you know, the times that I was on stage, but I also recall the times that I had trouble remembering my lines. So that always made me a little nervous as well. So, but yeah.
Well, with just a little bit time left, is there anything else that you want to talk about the play or something that you have done in the past? I'll turn that over to you for just a few minutes if you have something.
Just, you know, welcome the community to come see our show, July 21st through the 24th. We have 3 evening shows at 7 o'clock, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then the matinee on Sunday the 24th at 2. It's going to be a good show. We always have a good comedy. I think we've had a good reputation for having some good actors on stage, and our sets are really usually pretty elaborate, you know, quite, you know, they look pretty good. This year, like I said, it'll be a minimalist set, so we won't have the big, you know, living room like we had last year with all the beautiful furniture. But
Which is a good thing, since our stage builder is our main character this year. And, you know, it's hard to learn lines, practice, and set up the stage all at the same time. So it's a good thing that it's a minimalist stage this year.
yes, yes, we've had a good time so far, and I really appreciate all the work that everyone's been doing to, you know, help make this show, you know, come about. So come out and see us.
All right, so they can purchase tickets right there. Can they do it beforehand?
They can. There'll be a contact number on the posters that we're sending out and the flyers, and typically it's one of the board members' phone numbers. We also have a web page, and we have a Facebook page. Tickets will be $10 for adults at the door. We've never sold out before. We would love to. Like I said earlier, we have seating for 490, and with 4 shows, you know, every seat is a good seat in our theater.
It really is.
So, but yeah, you can call ahead and have on-call tickets waiting for you. So.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming by and sharing that information about the theater. This upcoming performance sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Mark your calendars, July 21, 22, and 23 for a 7 o'clock performance over at the Pittsville Area Community Theater, as well as a Sunday performance on July 24th at 2 p.m. You can check them out at their website at pittsvilleact.org. And you can also check it on the bottom of your screen. We have a phone number that you can call here and get back to them when you need something or have any questions. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Loucks, Wisconsin Rapids Community Media's coordinator, and we'll talk to you next time on Making Connections.